new set of decorations on the opposite wall. You have the World card before cutting the deck. So 10 of Cups, 2 of Wands, waiting for something to finish when it comes to your home, or waiting to move to go to your home somewhere out there in the world, or some chapter is coming to a close. Somebody's bound. There is some sort of somebody's bound in their movement. We have the Ace of Wands starting off the reading. We have the Temperance card, some sort of speech, some sort of something being spoken onto you, or which was supposed to be spoken onto you, has been put on hold. Like, this is Temperance card. Generally, all the major arcana will first indicate divine intervention, and also then we have somebody is unable to speak whatever they were speaking onto you. Yeah, it's like there's some sort of rejection as well. Rejection, because unable to find the opportunity to speak to you, because there is some sort of mindset trap, or they're trapped. They feel trapped. They've always felt trapped all throughout their lives, and now that it might be free. They're free to move forward with the Two of Wands. 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups could also be like, fortune after difficulty, and that's come through, but they feel trapped because possibly energy is still attached to that previous situation of stuckness. Let's say we are here in like sort of metaphysical angst. It's like, it's mental anguish and angst, and it's not a physical phenomena. That's what I mean by metaphysical. It's outside sensory perceptions, ennui. I think it's because a lot of us have been dealing with not just different people. Different is different than opposite. Like, opposite is just another kind of different. If there are types of different, it's opposite is, it's like the worst sort of different. And if our mind was entrapped by people who were just completely opposite to us, their mindset was completely opposite to us, trying to mix oil and water. It's not good or bad. It's just like their oil, your water, it's not going to mix. And if they have been trying to speak to you directly, trying to connect with you, you're no longer giving them any kind of opportunities. And that's like you're still having to guard yourself against any kind of external approaches, energies. Okay, let's see. There's 10 of Swords. There's some sort of endings coming in. Let's see what those endings are. Okay, so endings to relationships, and you're finding yourself completely independent. this is coming to an end. This is the energy of opposites. So it's like when you're saying that you want an apple, right, that you will get anything but an apple there, anything but an apple, because they are completely opposite to you. So when you say apple, they are not going to hear apple. They're just going to hear everything other than an apple. Something which is completely unlike an apple, completely opposite to an apple. So out of all the other options, it's not going to be even a fruit. It's going to be like you'll get a chair instead of an apple. So it's like, what is the complete opposite to an apple? Let's say, what is the opposite color of red? Or like, if it's a green apple, what is the opposite color? It's like, I think that's, my God, I really need to brush up on my theories, don't I? So anyway, so like red, then you get cyan, right? So cyan, this sort of in is particular, like you get cyan colored light bulb. That's the kind of energy people have been dealing with. That is essentially the karmic energy, and that phase is coming to an end. So look at them, they're bound, and now you were bound to this sort of an energy, or bound by this sort of an energy, because I think they just found it entertaining to just keep doing this sort of like coming up with offers that you will just end up rejecting, and putting you in sort of a zone of not paying attention to what's coming towards you. And now finally that chapter is ended, and you've learned how to sort of ignore their advances, okay, and ignore them approaching towards you, like ignoring their energy, ignoring their advances, ignoring them completely, ignoring this energy of opposition, and being free and independent from this. You're going to be able to connect to source very clearly, and you're going to get those downloads that you've been really waiting for all your life. Sorry, this could also be that one of the major karmic people in your life have been so if they've put you through a lot of sorry, it's like your entire life has been about on-newie. On-newie is that metaphysical angst that I was speaking about. And if you've been feeling that sort of on-newie because of this opposing energy in your life, I'm shuffling the Everyday Witches Tarot. Everyday Witches Tarot. As you can tell, I've used the Rider-Waite Tarot, original Rider-Waite Tarot. This is the first time I've had really a fancy box for the Rider-Waite Tarot. I got it's called the Scintillating Tarot. It's the original Rider-Waite imagery on it. So because of this opposition, you meeting people who are completely opposite to you, not just different, not just be opposite to you, might have caused you like ennui all your life, like complete dissatisfaction, listlessness. And I just mentioned this detour, that how, like when Harry, instead of the first time he uses the chimney, the flu network, flu powder, to travel, he, instead of going to Diagon Alley, he ends up at Nocturne Alley. He mispronounces something. So maybe, like, just before birth, you were suddenly, let's say, I have a feeling that the set of people which are connecting with this, they were pulled out of the ether, like, from their astral form, and suddenly put into, had to quickly make a decision of, choosing, like, where the life situation. They were not given any sort of chance, like, there was no time, like, there was no, they were just instructed to go there. Mainly light workers, earth angels, light workers, whatever you connect with, people, do-gooders, people who are supposed to, intelligent people, great people, the people who are supposed to bring about change. Those souls would suddenly put here, were not given a choice as to where they were going to take birth, etc., etc. And it's like, just before, like, giving a set of instructions, like, they might have mumbled, they might have just, like, been caught off guard. They knew they could give a set of instructions, and instead of saying Diagon Alley, he like, how Harry just, like, mumbled diagonally, like, coughing, and ends up in Nocturne Alley. So all throughout your life, you've been on a detour in a very, very wrong place, completely opposite. So Nocturne Alley is like a complete opposite shopping strip for compared to Diagon Alley, right? And you've lived your life, your entire life there, and you've tried to make friends. It's like, if you've watched Harry Potter or read Harry Potter, it's like Harry, Ron, and Hermione trying to be best friends with Draco Malfoy and his croonies, like, Slytherins trying to be best friends with Gryffindor, like, mortal enemies, like nemesis is, like, I don't think Draco and Harry are nemesis, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's like the Death Eaters and Dumbledore's army, or the Order of the Phoenix, them trying to fit in each other's world. It's going to be it's highly impossible, not improbable, but when you go through the entire process of elimination, no matter how improbable, you're going to have to accept that, yeah, sure, you're like, but I have survived, and I've still maintained my sanity, I've still maintained my standards, I've still maintained my happiness, I'm thrilled, like, I'm always, like, happy, even if, like, I've just gone through something extremely excruciating, technically, theoretically excruciating, but I'm like, well, it's so good to be alive, these are great times to be alive, like, if you've always maintained that sort of energy levels always, you might be thinking, nah, how can I be? But no, take a stock of all the people, and just, instead of being, let's say, instead of saying whether it was good or bad for you, because apparently it was great no matter what it was, instead of weighing it in that way, let's say, if you mixed well with it, no, you didn't, you felt repulsed by it always, and you wanted to ignore, like, the set of people around you, it's because it was opposite energies, it was opposite to you. And now, like, that on-newie has ended, and you're suddenly having to rest, instead of, like, you won't believe this card flipped over in the first shuffle. Four of Swords. This is the Four of Swords. Can you see it? Look at that, the Four of Swords. You've reached this place where you're like, that's it, I'm gonna back off, like, completely back off, and I'm gonna take a stock. I'm going to take a stock of what the hell would this was. What is all of this energy, this devil energy about? It's the opposite to you. It's going to present to you as your best friend. It's going to present to you as a best family member. It is going to present to you as your best career partner. It's going to present to you as your best study partner. It's going to present to you as your best extracurricular activity partner. It's going to present to you as your best shopping buddy. It's going to present to you as your best was travel partner. It's going to present to you as your best life partner. It's going to present to you like the devil is an expert in misleading and misguiding, distraction, disruption, right? We've heard all of that. But what it is essentially, it is just an opposite energy to you, like, you know, and we've been fed constantly opposite attract, opposite attract, opposite attract. It's like we've been it's like the system around us is perpetuating, like, you know, it's harmful for this person as well, because if they're opposite to us, we're opposite to them, and they're probably feeling stuck with us too, right? And it's like somebody has to call the shots and end it. At least energetically, mentally, it has ended. We are energetically with the Ace of Wands, and you know, this is another fire sign, this is an earth sign, and you know, we have earth sign next to an earth sign, we have two air sign cards. So mentally and energetically and emotionally, we have a cups here, so emotionally as well, you know, it's ended. Even practically, it's ended. It's done. Physically, energetically, mentally, it's done. The soul part of it, the soul attachment, is also done. It's over. Spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, it's over, and you're resting from this. So the ennui is over. You're no longer feeling that listlessness and hopelessness and that angst that you generally do, that metaphysical angst, that mental angst. You finally have that peace of mind now. Let's see where we are working with this, how we're working with this peace of mind, okay? I'm going to shuffle the cards a little bit. So it's not coincidence. It's such a beautiful synchronicity. I've been trying to find like how to describe what I've felt all my life. Like, you know, I connect with this energy quite a bit. That's what is making this a genuine reading. If you know, if you connect with it, and if you're feeling like, you know, there's some genuine message coming from this reading, it's because I've actually gone through this. It is not just like a random general collective reading. It's like I'm finding myself a part of the collective, and it's helping me so much. So it's like I felt like not bored, just like I don't fit in here. Like, yeah, sure, I get along with everybody, and everybody is kind of sort of nice to me, is trying to be nice to me, but like, you know, they just can't seem to accept me, and I can't seem to accept them. We are fine in each other's space, but the energy is just so horrible, and it's so toxic. It's so unhealthy. You know, it's unhealthy. The energy exchange, the mental exchange as well, the emotional there is no emotional acceptance from either side, no matter who this is, okay? It's been sort of like this, right? It's because we've been in Nocturne Alley instead of Diagon Alley, and the Nocturne Alley people, let's say it's like if somebody who's supposed to be in Nocturne Alley ends up in Diagon Alley, they're also going to be very, very disturbed and troubled, right? So let's say we're just in the wrong alleys for such a long time, and we just don't know what to do with it. Everything is fascinating. Everything in Nocturne Alley is fascinating, but then there are cursed items. Then there are like things like werewolves and vampires and creatures that we're definitely not going to get along with, because we're human, right? But being human and entering Diagon Alley would still be fine compared to like being human and entering Nocturne Alley, and you're like, well, we'd be dead. or we'd be turned into a meal for like some sort of creature, and just be missing. That this is exactly why, like, all of the in the stories in the Wizarding World of created by J.K. Rowling, it's like it's hidden for the Muggles, the non-magical people's safety, right? So you found yourself in a place where you didn't fit in, so there was listlessness as a mental angst, and your entire world around you is built based on that. And now you've clearly understood it, and you've cut the, and that energy is sort of like dissolved. It's just dissolved. It's just gone into thin air. Knight of Wands, look at him. He's like just flying about. He's happy. He's on his way, far away. Right? We have the Queen of Swords. We have the Magician. Now finally, having reached a place where you're going to be able to call in, Page of Swords, learn to call in what is suitable for you. You are like in the right place now. Okay, the Lovers. Okay, so all the choices that are coming through are going to be like the perfect matching. Seven of Wands. There is also some sort of resistance here, so or somebody is rushing up, so, or you're standing up for yourself now, finally being able to stand up for yourself. You have the Ace of Wands here again, so you now have your own voice, the ability to express your own opinions and being understood, because you fought this energy of this, you're independent of this energy. It's ended. Okay, the ennui has ended. Okay, so we found our way back to Diagon Alley, and it's like the best I could do so far in the previous reading is to say, like, them versus us, and this and that, like, trying to make sense. But in Gilmore Girls, like, Michelle, he's just upset, and he's supposed to be answering the phone, and the phone is ringing at the inn, right? And Lorelei tells him, like, asks him, why won't you answer the phone? And he's like, I have ennui, just sadness. And just the entire thing was put out there, like, for me. I have the answer, if after breaking free from this energy and you kind of resting from it, the answers are just coming through. Like I said, the downloads are going to start coming through, but there's some sort of resistance to this Lovers situation. Then we have the Ten of Pentacles, because you want to make sure that you're ready to move from the Nine of, like I said, like, the independence is over. There's also ending of this the ennui from being stuck in this. Okay, and you're resting from this situation, this energy, like, being stuck with now finally independent of this energy, and you're looking for jumping back into the Ten of Pentacles where they are together, like, in this happily ever after situation. Practically, we have the Knight of Pentacles here, so it's going to come by very, very slowly, and it's going to feel like you're resisting it, like how you kind of, I think you're mistaking it as being that metaphysical angst, or being in the place of constantly missing out on something, because you have this cringe and feeling in the pit of your stomach that that's not for me. And if you're one of us who's lived your entire life feeling like that, and suddenly now you're like, I'm free, like, if this is what's happening to you, like, I'm free, I'm really, really free, I've checked my intelligence, I've checked all of my downloads This is Four of Swords and this is the Queen of Swords. Like, I've checked all of my downloads. I've done the logical part as well. Cut out all the bullshit. And then I'm like, whoa, I get to speak my mind with the Ace of Swords. I don't have to listen to this opposite energy, which is not mixing with me at all. Like, it's unsuitable to me. And now I'm independent of this. Like, not just single, but like completely independent. You can't trust this energy, right? You just can't trust this energy because it's opposite to you. Like I said, like if you need a glass of water, it's going to get you a glass of oil. That is what is going to happen. And you've been doing the same thing with this energy as well. Like, the energy, the karmic energy, the people who are karmic ties with you, if they want a glass of oil, you've been giving them a glass of water. It's not going to work, right? Maybe they need that oil for some like cooking or making bread or something like that, and then they need to eat food or something. So, and it's not working out. So the resistance is to it's just like always been trying to shield yourself or having to stand up in the face of this opposite energy, right? It's just you're habituated to it. It's become sort of like, being defensive, right? On the offense and defense all the time, like, seven of wands. It's just like you've gotten into that habit. But now you're learning better because we have the Page of Swords here and the Knight of Pentacles. You're learning about behaviors that are suitable to you, the real you, without this. You are still assimilating all of that you have been doing in the face of this energy, the karmic energy, the karmics in your life, right? Till that process happens, till those downloads happen, till that assimilation happens of how you've been reacting, how you've been talking, till that process happens, you are and that process it's going to be very, very slow, and it's like somebody starting from scratch, right? So it's going to be very slow and very steady. Till that happens, you're not going to be able to use these new tools, this newfound freedom. So there is no way you can push this. So we might as well like take the time and enjoy this. There is definitely like a feeling of being trapped, but that is because we have not known a life without being trapped with karmic soul ties. But now that it's over, now that it's ended, it's completely ended, we have to learn so much about how we've been behaving in the face of opposition to be able to release all of that. Whoops, look at that. To be able to drop that out of the picture and learn new ways, the real ways, the more suitable ways. This is the Knight of Pentacles. That is you being on the right path, and the Page of Swords is you receiving instructions, right? Instructions from your higher self, universe, God, source, Holy Spirit, your angel guides. Now you're going to start getting synchronicities where you're going messages and guidance messages where you can move forward, but it is still slow. It's happening, but then suddenly one day it's going to burst out into your reality, your abilities to instantly manifest things that are absolutely 100% congruent with you, in alignment with you, suitable with you, right? You might be stuck because there is so much effort and so much actual material stuff invested already in it, but like write it off as bad debt, as something that you're not going to get back. Don't think of it as investment. Think about it as something, if this is a sort of a marriage and you're cutting off from it, if you're thinking about it and if it's confusing you, the opposite energy of karmic ties, karmic soul ties, and especially if you are one of the divine collective, and so a karmic soul can be with a karmic soul, and it's still going to be the same dynamic, right? But it's still more suitable because their ventures are the same. Their ventures are the same, but divine collective and karmic soul collectives ventures are completely different. Like, oil based, water based. Correct? They're not going to mix. But at least karmics, they will pick one, and the relationship might be very, very toxic, but it'll be both will have either water based or oil based. They will still be on the same side, right? So having so many people on the same side and being stuck in the middle of them all throughout your life, all the hard work that you've put in connections and relationships and friendships, all the money that you've invested all throughout your life, or it's not just money, practical stuff, things that you shared, all of that space that you shared, especially mentally, both the sides have tried to make it work. People have tried to make it work with you, and you try to make it work with them, but suddenly just it's extremely shocking. The divine collective at least kind of understands, but the karmic collective will just be what the hell just happened, why, they will not understand. Because they choose to learn the lesson. They're bound to that lesson. But the divine collective is not. They're kind of free. They're free to pursue whatever it is that they want to right now, in this moment. They're free to pursue that. So it's a karmic soul will try to latch on to a divine soul if they find, in when Harry's in Nocturne Alley, people, except for Hagrid, when Hagrid comes over, Hagrid finds Harry, he's the only way who steers him along to Diagon Alley. But otherwise, everybody else over there, they start sniffing and vulturing down on Harry like that in Nocturne Alley, right? So they're not going to let go of you just like that so easily, just because you announce that you're different or opposite or not so good for them. It takes a very long time getting out of the psychological bonds, metaphysical bonds with each other, and then once you reach that stage of ultimate sadness and devastation, and those two cards have fallen over. Once you reach that, full and final end of, and and you're pining after something that never appeared to you, but you knew that was something that you always, that is what you were looking for. You're looking for Diagon Alley, but then you ended up in Nocturne Alley, and then you were refusing anything that happens at Nocturne Alley all throughout your life. And it's that continuous mental angst, metaphysical angst, and it's you can't even connect to where it's coming from, right? Where it's coming from, you can't connect the dots. And now finally, you're able to do it, and that is what is setting you free. you've stopped processing it completely. You just gave up like processing it, and once you did that, you were free of it. Once you refuse to listen to any more of it, refused to let this energy access you, right, any further, you was kind of set free. It ended. That entire scenario ended. That mistake is now being corrected. Okay. Also, it's sort of like time. Like I said, it's when there's major arcanas coming in. The Temperance card is also like, besides all the other thing that it's supposed to mean, it also means divine intervention. It first and foremost for me always means divine intervention. So this is the Archangel Michael coming in and finally picking up the right other half, the right choice for you with the Lovers card here as well. The Lovers card here, I'm sorry, I think it's a little too dark, but okay. So the Lovers card here, so the right choice for you and putting them together. So that process of divine intervention and is also happening. So I feel it's still going to take some more time, but if we stick with it, if we process all the mental traps, and if we and also get out of the habit of being defensive and on the offense all the time. So all your life, if you've always felt like you were supposed to defend yourself, like from the opposition, like whether it be a friend, family, whatever social situation, and if you've had to venture your entire life so far with opposite energies, like, because it's just a scenario that it's just nocturnally, it's not diagonally, like where you're supposed to be and feel comfortable, right? It's nothing, it's not your fault, and it's not their fault either. Nobody is good or bad. Like, Nocturne Alley exists, it does exist. Diagon Alley exists. It just exists. If it's your alley, it's your alley, right? So you've got to understand now you've been rerouted to the right place for you. So it's going to take some time for you to process that it's finally happened. And then it's for all of us, like, I find myself a part of this reading, connecting with this reading quite a bit. And once that's done, we don't know this yet. She has a blindfold. So if you're feeling lost as to what is it that is supposed to happen here, it's all right. It's all right. Right now, at present, you are still figuring out the effects of having been in Nocturne Alley. There's a lot of toxicity that you're processing. Okay, what have I consumed mentally, emotionally, physically, energetically that is unhealthy for me, that I need to now purge, right? The purging process will begin later. First, the processing has to happen. The Four of Swords has to happen, right? Because the Eight of Swords, the mind, there has been psychological effects here that need to be corrected with the Four of Swords and the Queen of Swords. The psychological effects have to be corrected. You need to speak to your mind very, very clearly and very, very bluntly. Conversation needs to be blunt. Refrain from making any choices because you are going to resist making that ultimate choice of that Ten of Pentacles and Lovers, the happily ever after here. Your energy wants to move out of this prison very fast with the Knight of Wands at the bottom of the deck. It wants to move very fast, but you are being suggested, you're being advised to take it slow, because you're still in resistance mode. So if you take it slow and steady, you are going to be able to learn the skills that this combination of the Magician and the Ace of Wands. Look at how beautiful that combination is, Magician and the Ace of Wands. You're going to be able to practice that if you walk in a slow and steady stance, so low. Don't try to fly out of that mental cage without understanding what that imprisonment was. Like in V for Vendetta, when she understands that V had her trapped there and she was not in a real prison, she gets very upset. But when she she resists being understanding V, right? She resists understanding V. She's fighting with him, arguing with him. That is the Seven of Wands here, right? That's the Seven of Wands. But once she processes the Four of Swords, when she processes what happened in that prison with her, very clearly, when she understands, when we explains to her that she is free, she is now free of all fears, right? That is when she can actually create the revolution, create the space, do that, create the magic never seen before. For that, a lot of learning and practicing, like the Knight of Pentacles and the Page of Swords, you're going to have to teach yourself, because this is your own unique path. There is no other way. So you're going to have to be that. So it's like going to have to be Hermione and Harry, or Harry, like teaching himself how to get out of something on his own, just with Hermione's instructions, like do this, do that, right? So it's going to have to be that duo for some time. But in the end, no matter how much help he gets in the Tri-Wizard tournament, him being the fourth wizard in the Tri-Wizard tournament, that's even more weird, right? To think about it. So let's say this is the final, practice session till we face that ultimate, happily ever after with the Lovers and Ten of Pentacles. So you're going to have to take the little instructions that are needed, slow and steady, to be able to stabilize yourself, ground yourself in practical material world reality, of the reality in the life situation and the soul ties, and that are actually completely in alignment with you and your soul's energy, okay, and your mindset and your psyche. So this is what I have for you. I'm going to stop